Have you ever seen a terrible occurrence on live television that seemed to mock God? Consider what would happen if such people were challenged right away. As doubts about the sincerity of their religion developed, tensions escalated. Were these people actually living their supposed Christian views, or was there a disconnect between their behavior and their professed beliefs? Join us as we explore this unusual interaction, delving into the conflict between religion and public display, and finally asking if their convictions were actually rooted in their souls or only as a show for the cameras. Gavin Newsom says he is a faithful Catholic, but his views on same-sex marriage and how he uses the Bible to support ending the lives of unborn babies have drawn criticism. Governor Gavin Newsom made the following comment about the constitutional change proposed by Assembly member Evan Lowe D. Campbell to get rid of Proposition 8, the discriminatory ban on same-sex marriage that was thrown out by a federal district court in 2010. Nearly 20 years after the historic Winter of Love in San Francisco, we must stay on guard to protect our ideals of equality, freedom, and acceptance from the forces of hate that want to destroy our progress. It is the rule that people of the same gender can get married, and Proposition 8 has no place in our Constitution. It's time for our rules to say that marriage is fair for everyone, no matter who they are or who they love. California supports the rights of LGBTQ+ people to live freely. Oprah Winfrey. Even though Oprah Winfrey identifies as Christian, she has been known to express support for homosexuals and does not subscribe to the belief that Jesus is the only way to heaven. This perspective was evident during an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show in 1997, where she interviewed Ellen DeGeneres about her experience of coming out as a lesbian. During the show, members of the audience questioned Winfrey about her decision to provide a platform for DeGeneres to discuss her journey. One audience member, referencing her religious beliefs, expressed a belief that homosexuality is wrong according to the Bible and suggested that Winfrey's support of LGBTQ+ rights was a double standard. In response, Oprah Winfrey challenged the religious audience member's interpretation of Christianity. She stated that her view of Christianity differed from the woman's and acknowledged that she did not expect to change her beliefs. Winfrey emphasized that the God she believes in does not discriminate based on factors such as height, race, or sexual orientation. Winfrey recounted a personal experience where she engaged in a heated argument with someone who claimed that all gay people were destined for hell, including Winfrey herself for featuring Ellen DeGeneres on her show. However, she firmly asserted her personal responsibility for her own spiritual journey, whether that leads to heaven or hell. Winfrey urged those concerned about her choices to redirect their energy towards creating a more compassionate and inclusive world for everyone. She further explained her belief that if Ellen DeGeneres is gay, it is because God created her that way. This assertion highlights Winfrey's understanding that sexual orientation is an inherent aspect of an individual's identity and should be respected and embraced. When confronted by an audience member who suggested that Winfrey couldn't publicly support LGBTQ+ individuals, Oprah responded by expressing her support for DeGeneres' right to be true to herself. She emphasized the importance of accepting others for who they believe they are. Oprah Winfrey's stance on these issues demonstrates her personal conviction that Christianity encompasses love, acceptance, and inclusivity. While her views may differ from traditional interpretations of Christianity, she remains steadfast in her belief that individuals should be treated with kindness and respect, regardless of their sexual orientation. Beyoncé's claim that God lives inside her appears to contradict her music videos and her public support for LGBTQ+ rights. While she professes to have a close relationship with God, her songs and her statements appear to contradict traditional Christian teachings. Beyoncé's music videos frequently feature sexual immorality and vulgarity, which are contrary to the principles held by many Christians. Furthermore, her support for LGBTQ+ rights, although encouraging inclusion, contradicts the teachings of some Christian groups that regard homosexuality as immoral. Nicki Minaj. Similarly, Nicki Minaj's trust in God is clear in her declarations about seeking guidance via prayer and a religious background. Her songs and public persona, however, convey a distinct message. Minaj's music frequently promotes sexual immorality, portraying a lifestyle contrary to Christian ideals. Her bold performances and graphic songs call into question conventional Christian teachings on sexual purity and modesty. While she claims to be a Christian, her songs and public demeanor appear to contravene the moral norms of many Christian groups. There appears to be a disconnect between the artist's stated beliefs and their conduct or creative manifestations in both situations. While people may have their own views of Christianity and their connection with God, their public personas and creative choices may conflict with traditional Christian beliefs and principles. It calls into question the genuineness of their faith and the extent to which their behaviors correspond to their religious convictions. Stephen Colbert. And then there is Stephen Colbert's Catholicism, which he talks about freely. Stephen Colbert is a well-known public person who is known for being open about his Catholic religion. But there is a difference between what he says about his faith and what he says about abortion rights. Even though Colbert is a Catholic, he supports the right to abortion, which goes against what the Catholic Church teaches. This makes me wonder how he makes sense of his own views and the official teachings of his church. Colbert's view on abortion is interesting because it goes against what the church has always said about the practice. This difference between his faith and how he feels about a big moral problem like abortion makes me wonder how strong and consistent his religious beliefs are. Justin and Hailey Bieber. There is also talk about Justin and Hailey Bieber's faith. Celebrity couple Justin and Hailey Bieber have been public about their Christian religion. Justin has highlighted his experience of growing in faith and moving away from sin, highlighting the significance of obedience. However, certain parts of their conduct call into doubt the continuity of their Christian beliefs. For starters, Justin's engagement in the selling of marijuana, as seen by his relationship with a cannabis firm, runs counter to conventional Christian attitudes on substance usage. This raises questions about whether his activities are consistent with his stated beliefs. Furthermore, Hailey Bieber's support of the pro-choice movement, as evidenced by the signature on the Brands Off Our Bodies petition opposing the Roe v. Wade decision, contradicts the Christian stance on the sanctity of life and calls into question her commitment to biblical teachings on the subject. These practices make me wonder if actual Christians would engage in activities that contravene their stated beliefs. Matthew McConaughey. Actor Matthew McConaughey is known for being upfront about his Christian religion. However, he endures criticism and difficulty in the Hollywood scene because of his religious convictions. Despite earning honors and thanking God in his acceptance speeches, McConaughey has noticed that individuals he has prayed with in the past hesitate to applaud when he shows thankfulness to God. This implies that his religious beliefs are not generally embraced or supported in the entertainment business. Another facet of McConaughey's public persona is his unclear position on abortion. When questioned about his views on the issue, he refuses to divulge them, adding that he will not reveal his views at a concert or interview. McConaughey raises issues about his conformity with traditional Christian beliefs on the sanctity of life by failing to take a clear stance on abortion and condemning laws aimed at safeguarding the lives of unborn children. Several well-known Christian professors, including Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Joyce Meyer, Kenneth Copeland, and Benny Hinn, have faced criticism. These individuals have come under fire for allegedly distorting the gospel message and promoting a contentious ideology known as prosperity theology. According to critics, their teachings lay an undue focus on financial wealth and personal prosperity, departing from the essential ideals of the Christian religion. As we come to the end of this fascinating tale of faith and public review, we want you to think about the questions that have been raised. Join the discussion and tell us what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get more content like this that will make you think. Thank you for watching.